Good evening, Americans, and welcome to the Ed Show tonight from New York. The president was thumping Republicans about gas prices on the stump today, and nobody could have said it better.
Last week, the lead story in one newspaper said, gasoline prices are on the rise and Republicans are licking their chops. Only in politics do people root for bad news.
Mr. President, I couldn't agree more. This is the Ed Show. Let's get to work.
There are no silver bullets short term when it comes to gas prices. And anybody who says otherwise isn't telling the truth.
Republicans are pumping out fear on gas prices. Today, the president let them have it.
The American people aren't stupid.
Martin Bashir and Richard Wolff are here to react.
The governor needs to get out of the practice of medicine and get back to governing Virginia.
Republicans in Virginia are cutting and running in the war on women's health. We'll bring you the major developments. And last night, 4 white guys laid out their plans for women and their bodies.
I don't think we've seen in the history of this country the kind of attack on religious conscience that we've seen under Barack Obama.
Professor Caroline Heldman and Salon's Joan Walsh are here. The turnaround in Chicago schools continues to spark outrage. A generation of kids are at risk. We're going back to Illinois. And major news on the South Carolina voter suppression story. A new investigation says the state's attorney general is dead wrong.
If we want to suppress anyone's vote, we want to suppress deceased individuals who've already passed away and continue to vote.
Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. President Obama became the debunker-in-chief today. Republicans have been attacking the president for higher gas prices with lies and false promises, and President Obama isn't letting them get away with it. He hammered the GOP lies during a speech at the University of Miami today.
Anybody who tells you that we can drill our way out of this problem doesn't know what they're talking about or just isn't telling you the truth. There are no silver bullets short term when it comes to gas prices. And anybody who says otherwise isn't telling the truth. Now, none of the steps that I've talked about today is going to be a silver bullet. It's not going to bring down gas prices tomorrow. Remember, if anybody says they've got a plan for that, what? I'm just saying.
President Obama did name names, but we all know who he's talking about.
The decisions that the president is making on energy, and he's been making since the beginning of his administration, has made it very clear that America is not interested in developing our own energy resources.
There is no reason we can't get gasoline down between $2 and $2.50 a gallon.
They are anticipating $5 a gallon for gasoline in Chicago, all because of the radical environmentalist policies of this president.
And the President of the United States has done everything possible to shut down energy production.
His policy has been outrageously anti-American energy. The high price of gasoline is a direct result of Obama.
Republicans are pretty thrilled about rising gas prices in America. According to the New York Times, Speaker John Boehner instructed fellow Republicans to embrace the gas pump anger they find among their constituents. He told them, this debate is a debate we want to have. Republican eagerness about high gas prices was an easy layup for the president.
Last week, the lead story in one newspaper said, gasoline prices are on the rise and Republicans are licking their chops. That's a quote. That was the lead. Licking their chops. Only in politics do people root for bad news. Do they greet bad news so enthusiastically? You pay more, they're licking their chops.
Republican politicians aren't the only ones licking their chops. Fox News can hardly contain themselves over the rising gas prices.
Here's a guy who said, no, I'm good for the economy. No, he's been nothing but bad.
When President Obama took office in 2009 of January, gas prices were $1.79 a gallon. Look at what it is now.
He can get the gas price down to $2 a gallon easily.
The Obama administration wants the price of oil to go up as high as possible. What about that pesky Keystone XL pipeline? Wouldn't that help?
By vetoing the Keystone Pipeline, Obama owns this price of gas, and it's going to be his problem.
So long as gasoline's getting higher and more expensive. That's all Republicans have to say is Keystone.
Oh, the Republican talking point that the Keystone Pipeline and more drilling would lower gas prices is flat out bogus. The fact is, American oil production has increased dramatically under President Obama and his administration. Since President Obama took office, the number of oil rigs operating in the United States of America has more than tripled. Total domestic oil output is up 8% after declining under President Bush. But of course, Fox News isn't about facts. Neither are Republican presidential candidates. Here's Newt Gingrich's response to President Obama's speech today. Instead of offering a real plan to lower the cost of gasoline, President Obama offered excuses and fantasies. The guy promising $2 a gallon gas is accusing President Obama of offering fantasies. President Obama made it clear it's the Republicans who are living in a fantasy land.
And you can bet that since it's an election year, they're already dusting off their three-point plan for $2 gas. And I'll save you the suspense. Step 1 is to drill, and step 2 is to drill. And then step 3 is to keep drilling. Well, the American people aren't stupid. They know that's not a plan, especially since we're already drilling. That's a bumper sticker.
Drilling. 3 times more on our soil, more than what we did during the Bush administration. It's a fact you won't hear on Fox. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question, are Republicans licking their chops at higher gas prices? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. And you can always go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. I'm joined tonight by MSNBC host Martin Bashir and also MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolff. Richard, you first tonight, please. We are in this political war of words right now as to who's at fault when it comes to gas prices in this country. Is what President Obama, what he needs to do, what does he need to do right now to avoid the blame game as it being on the administration's shoulders at this point? What would be effective?
Well, he needs to offer some solutions up, right? You know, there's not a lot you can do in the short term, but there are a whole range of things that will lead to a longer-term solution. And by the way, this isn't his blueprint necessarily, because his predecessor had exactly the same challenges. President Bush saw gas prices go up from about $2 to more than doubling, well over $4. He went into exploring all sorts of alternative energy, all the things he ridiculed when Al Gore suggested them, whether it was those photovoltaics, solar cells or switchgrass, all those biofuels. I toured those plants with President Bush. Nobody in their right mind could possibly think that President Bush allowed gas prices to go up because he was an ardent environmentalist or he was too tough on the oil and gas industry. So the president now has to say, look, we've been here before, there's a way out of it, and by the way, anyone who thinks this is about politics doesn't even remember 4 years ago.
And of course, Martin, the Republicans are blaming the president with his position on the Keystone Pipeline as if that's going to make a big difference. How ingenuous is that? How disingenuous is it?
Well, it was interesting to hear you say that Newt Gingrich accused the president of offering fantasies. Newt Gingrich says he's going to take oil prices down to $2 or $2.50. The only thing that Newt Gingrich is very skilled at doing is taking his underpants down in the form of the number of forms of adultery that this man commits. Let's think about the Keystone Pipeline for one moment. First of all, there are environmental implications that need to be considered carefully. Mr. Gingrich, Mr. Santorum, Mr. Romney would just have no interest whatsoever in considering that. Second, there are the employment implications. If you listen to John Boehner, he says 50,000 jobs will be created. Cornell University did a study. They said they think a total of between 2,500 and 3,000 jobs. The fantasy that Newt Gingrich beautifully uses that term, is actually theirs. It's not this president.
Congressman Alan West attacked the president on Facebook. He says, last night it took $70 to fill the tank of my 2008 H3 Hummer. What is it costing you? What does it cost the president to fill his gas tank? Richard, what's wrong with this statement?
The guy should get a smaller car, right? You know, something more efficient, something more up to date. There are a number of options out there. But his bigger problem is his party's problem, right? This is a party that says, we understand the private sector. We understand business. This president's clueless. We could be producing any amount of gasoline and crude oil in this country, and it would not affect the price of crude oil around the world. It is so much of a bigger market. Saudi Arabia has much more direct impact on the price of oil, and even it struggles to influence because demand is so high. So there is a world market for oil that is irrelevant when it comes to American policy. We can mitigate some things, we can plan for longer term, but we could drill all the way down to Australia and Alan West would still have a problem filling up his Hummer.
President Obama challenged Republicans today to defend their support of oil subsidies.
Right now, $4 billion of your tax dollars subsidize the oil industry every year. $4 billion. They don't need a subsidy. They're making near record profits. How do they deserve another $4 billion from taxpayers in subsidies? It's outrageous. It's inexcusable. Every politician who's been fighting to keep those subsidies in place should explain to the American people why the oil industry needs more of their money, especially at a time like this.
Martin, that's not a bullet point, that's a fact, and I think that's the best political play the president can make right now, and the Democrats keep hammering that home because they have tried to cut the Republicans and the oil companies off at the pass when it comes to oil subsidies.
And guess what? The president hasn't been able to persuade Congress to do anything about it. The loopholes still exist, the benefits for the oil industry and the subsidies continue. Last night was the latest edition, the 20th debate, the 20th edition in what I'm calling Four Men and a Funeral, because every time these candidates appear, they literally bury themselves by dint of what they say and what they don't say. Did anybody yesterday talk about energy and clean energy and the prospects for employment?
They hate clean energy.
So no one mentions that.
Yeah.
What we heard last night was Arlen Specter, euthanasia and infanticide, and ludicrous ideas that aren't connected to the reality. And I think this is why 55% of Republicans, not independents, not Democrats, 55% would like someone else to enter the race, because these four candidates are as mediocre as they come for such an important role as a presidential nominee.
Martin Bashir, Richard Wolff, great to have both of you with us tonight. Thanks so much.